All right, so here we go. Quickly. It says 75 slides. We're not going to go through all of them, but we're going to go through them as quickly as possible. So today, make sure you do this. This will be your second page on your third board. Second page on your third board, monohybrid cross. Get that. So we have these different vocabulary words. I'm going to go through them quickly. Reproductive process, blah, 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 blah. Which differs from both parents. What do you think it is? Sexual reproduction or meiosis. All right. Study of heredity starts with a G. Genetics. Likelihood that a parent in particular starts with a P. Probability. Sex cell. Come on. Starts with a G. Gametes. Okay. Having two identical alleles for a particular gene. Come on now. Homozygous. Same. Homo means same. All right. Diagram showing the gene combination that might result from a genetic cross. A Punnett square. So you might not know that word yet. That's what we're going to be doing. Right. DNA, RNA contains genetic information. CHONP. Come on, starts with an N. Nucleic acid. All right, moving on. An allele that is always expressed. You can see it. Starts could be a trait, but it also starts with a P because it's physical. Oh, never mind. My bad. Dominant. Y'all got me. Okay. I owe y'all one. All right. But it's a dominant trait because it's going to be phenotypically expressed. Sorry. So I'm using big words instead of the dominant easy. All right. Containing two complete sets of chromosomes, one from each parent. Come on, diploid starts with two sets, one from mom, one from dad. An allele that is marked with a dominant allele is present. Okay, now it's going to talk about recessive because that one is masked. Sorry, not marked. Conversion of light. Oh, come on, starts with a P. Photosynthesis. All right, respiration that requires oxygen. Aerobic respiration. All right, no oxygen, anaerobic. All right. An organism that can make its own food starts with A, autotroph or producer. All right. Organisms that cannot make its own food is going to start with the H, heterotroph or consumer. Okay. Let's see, I gotta move that later. All right. So, what chemical reaction easy needs carbon dioxide? That means a plant. So we're going through that process of photosynthesis. All right. Homologous chromosomes pair up if they form tetrads. Oh, never said tetraid, so I don't know what that is, right? But it has homologous chromosomes, so they pair up. No, it's going to be doing during crossing over occurs. It's going to be a meiosis prophase 1. All right, homologous chromosomes separate. Anaphase. Is it anaphase 1 or anaphase 2? That's the question. It's going to be anaphase 1. All right, waste products from fermentation is going to be carbon dioxide. It could be like the acid or it can be alcoholic. So, boom, we have ethanol and alcohol. See, that's it. All right, cell division that produces 4 haploid cells. Come on, meiosis. Easy. Come on, let's I gotta do harder than that. Respiration that does not require anaerobic. Come on, light work. All right. So these are gonna be the vocabulary words. Don't worry about that. I am going to give you those. Not today though. What you're gonna be learning today, you're gonna be learning about the Punnett square, the monohybrid cross, understanding Mendel's laws of segregation and independent assortment. All right. So these are the type of questions you should be able to answer when I come in back on Tuesday. How are they similar to one another? Right? How are things similar? How they differ from one another? Okay. What do they think their parents looked like, and what does a person mean when he uses the phrase purebred and hybrid, which I kind of talked about last class. Purebred meaning homozygous, hybrid meaning heterozygous. Okay. Genes are always made up of two alleles. Okay, one from mom, one from dad. That's how you get that diploid, right? So in this particular situation, dad is a homozygous recessive and mom is a homozygous dominant. That means the child is going to be heterozygous, hybrid, because it's going to have big P and little p. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. All right. So, but what if the parents are heterozygous? Now it creates a opportunity for the child to be different. Okay, so Punnett squares predict the possible genotype for the couple's offspring. Remember, genotype is the letters, so we're going to use those letters to predict what the child's genotype is. All right. So fathers on top. I just like to put daddy on top because the man's head of the household, and then mom is going to be on the left hand side. So in this particular situation, we have a couple who wants to find a child to find out whether their children will have dimples. Dimples are a dominant trait, big D, pause, and little dimples, and this is a recessive trait, little d. All right. So dad is big D, homozygous dominant, and mom is little d, homozygous recessive. Remember, homozygous means purebred, so they're both purebred for what they have. So mom has no dimples, dad has So in this particular situation, we're going to have each column. So the alleles 1 go at the top for the father, big D, and on the side, we're going to have mom, little d, little d. All right, so let's go ahead and put those there, big D, and mom, little d, little d. Now, how do you put those into the box to predict what you're going to get in? All right, so you drag and drop alleles into the boxes. So if you're looking at this little picture right here, the top goes down, down, and the left goes across to the right. Okay, so first we go down from allele 1, then we go across to allele 1. So we're going to have then allele 1 go all the way down, and then allele 2 for that second parent go across. Then we have allele 1, oh, sorry, it says allele 2. Allele 2 from dad comes down. You have allele 1 that come all the way across to mom, from mom to dad, and then you have allele 2 go all the way down for dad, and allele 2 from mom go all the way across. Just follow the arrows. You're going to see it in a second. All right. So first thing first, you bring that little d across from mom, and you bring that big D down from dad. So that's a heterozygous possibility for a child. Next one, bring that little d across and bring that big D down. So the same possibility. So it's now at least 50% that you have a heterozygous child. All right. Then you bring big D, little d, little d, big D. And obviously, the only thing they can produce in this child is a heterozygous child who is going to have dimples because dimples are dominant. And so you're going to see the dimples even though they have the gene for no dimples. All right. So now let's change it up a little bit. What are all of the potential genotypes for the offspring? So they all are going to be heterozygous. So now we got to start figuring out each box is worth 25%, like quarters, right? So 0 out of 4 boxes, 0%, 1 out of 4 is 25, 2 out of 4 is 50, 3 out of 4 is 75, and 4 out of 4 is 100%. So in this particular example, it was a 100% chance that the child would be heterozygous or hybrid. Okay. So what is the probability that the child will be born with dimples? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, 100%. Okay. So Mendel knew there was a situation where his rules would not always be perfect, right? So now we're talking about what if it's a situation where, hey, they're heterozygous, but the child, the dominant gene doesn't show by itself, or is there something completely different? Or you have a cat with stripes, like the one cat was black and one cat was white, and the baby came out with stripes, white and black, right? So we're gonna figure out what that means right now. So, oh, moving on. Sorry. So in this particular situation, we have a big R, and little r, little r. So when you mix them together, oh, so now we got purple. That's a mixture. Mr. DeHady, you told me big R is dominant. Well, there are situations where the dominant gene and the recessive gene mix instead of becoming just showing the dominant one. So that happens in humans every day, light skin. Okay, so you have a person who's light skin or very light, white, and then you have someone who's very dark. Their children tend to become out with a mixture instead of just being black and dark or light and or white, right? So you get more of that mixture. And so we're gonna figure out what that is. What that's called. This is called incomplete dominance. Make sure you write that down. So for incomplete dominance is a blending. So make sure you circle blending. All right. Neither allele is dominant or recessive. So a good way to remember is always mix a new color. You don't see the dominant one and you don't see the recessive one. You won't see red and you won't see white. You're gonna see something different, pink. All right. Oh, if I got blue and I got yellow and I bring it together, I ain't gonna see blue. I ain't gonna see yellow. I'm gonna see green. I'm gonna see something different, something new. All right. And this is what we get in humans because you don't look exactly like your parents, right? So incomplete is an intermediate medium. They're always going to be hybrids, right? Because they always are a mixture between two different traits. And so incomplete dominance, where do you find that genotype? It's going to be heterozygous. So make sure you write that down. Genotypes of offspring are always heterozygous. Write that down. Genotypes of offspring are always heterozygous, right? And so you can see that in the three middle dogs who are brown. All right, so how we have right here, we have a lavender-ish flower, and then we have a white flower that produces more of a pinkish look, right? And so we know the pinkish flower is going to be incomplete dominance. All right, but what happens when you see both of the colors? You see the red and the white. You see the red and the white, right? So now it's both. That's not incomplete because you see them, right? Incomplete means you don't see nothing. You don't see either one. You see something new. In this situation, you see both of them. This is called co-dominance because they're sharing the screen, right? They're teammates, like cooperative, right? So when both of the organism alleles for a trait are dominant, both alleles are expressed. No mixture. Write that down. All right. Make sure you pause the video here because it's quite a bit of words. Write everything down. Okay. And for no mixture, put a star next to it so you know that it's both that are showing. All right, so in this particular situation, you have a black chicken and a white chicken, and you're gonna mix those two chickens together, right? We mixing the chickens together. So now what you're gonna get? You're gonna get polka dots. In this one, I put checkered, right? So you get the big B, big B, big W, big W. The baby's gonna come out heterozygous again, but instead of being gray or being black, remember both letters are dominant, so both letters are going to show. And so you have black and white, white polka dots, black on the body, like a zebra. For instance, you see this in cows. Some people, for humans, you may see the disease, or it's not even a disease, but it's a genetic trait or mutation called vitiligo, I believe it's called, where we have blotches on our skin. Okay, so in this particular situation, big R for brown, I guess they meant red, all right, and then big W for white. Put them together, the baby comes out RW, and they got patches on their skin, got polka dots. So this is also what you guys kept bringing up. You see the beautiful young girls. They're older, much older now. This is about 7 years ago. But one has blue eyes, and the other one, she has a blue eye and a brown eye. Well, what happened in this particular situation? Well, this particular child received the allele for blue, and she received the allele for brown. And in this particular situation, in most humans, blue is recessive, but for her, in this genetic mutation, one became dominant and one became recessive. For one eye actually has that color and the other eye does not. Very, very, very rare, but it is possible. This is an example of codominance because you see both colors. All right, so what's another example of this codominance, right, in humans? So it's your blood type. Mr. Haiti, for instance, my blood type is B, and I'm going to explain this when we get to it. All right, so remember, genes code for proteins. So your genes, your DNA makes your proteins, and your proteins do everything in your body except for provide energy or energy storage, sorry. All right, and storage of genetic information, which the genes do that. Okay, we had the 10-minute mark. I'm trying to get done with this within 15 minutes, right? I said 30 minutes, but I'm speed racer, right? Hopefully I can get it by 20. So in this particular situation, in the cases of blood type, genes, chromosome 9 codes for the protein and molecules found on the red blood cell. So in this particular situation, we're talking about how the gene codes for the particular blood type, right? So chromosome 9 tells you your blood type. So, sorry, thank you, give it to me. All right, so in this particular situation, we're going to see, but everyone has two copies because you're going to get one from mom, one from dad. Diploid, right? You got two copies. So chromosome 9, they have two copies of the blood type. So in this situation, we got AA. Wait a second. I got two A's. Is that homozygous or heterozygous? And what type of blood type is that? I think you already got the answer because if you got two A's, it's going to be homozygous because it's the same as the same. And the blood type is going to be A, type AA, technically. All right. All right. In this situation here, we got BB. So type blood type B and it's homozygous. Now we got AB. When you have a blood type AB, do it just say A or does it just say B? No, it says both of them. So this is a co-dominant because you see both of them. So you see type A, you type B, now you see both of them are being dominant at the same time. This is extraordinarily rare. I believe less than 1% of the human population have both A and B. And then we have type O. Type O does not have any proteins on it. Type O is technically a recessive trait, right? So in this particular situation, you get to see codominance and you see regular dominance, right? So O is a recessive trait for our blood type. And if you see any of the other blood types, it covers it up. So let me show you right here. If you're heterozygous type AO, you're going to be type A because guess what? A is the dominant trait that covers up the O. Doesn't mean you don't have an O. And in my situation, I told you I was type B. Well, guess what? I know I'm type B because I've taken my blood out and tested it. But other than that, I know I'm BO because my mom has OO. And I don't know my dad. So if I'm BO and my mom's OO, who gave me the B? Obviously, it's my father. It's the only other person who could give it to me. I don't know if he was BB or he was BO, but he had the B and he gave me that B. All right. So I'm BO. So in this particular cat, we got a black, white, and brown. Is that co or incomplete? Co, because you can see both. Okay, boom, here we go. We got pink and we have white, both for showing. That should be easy, codominance. All right. So let's go ahead and practice this a little bit. Don't worry about that. I'm gonna skip through this very fast. Don't worry about that. We'll do that in class. So it's all of that. Don't worry about doing this. Don't worry about doing any of that. Okay. Here we go. Don't worry about doing any of that. This has actually been provided to you through a link. So none of this will be done. We'll do this in class. And this is the end of the PowerPoint. I finished in 15 minutes. I did that extremely quickly. If you need to slow it down, you can slow it down. But this should be able to help you a little bit because we're going to be in those videos that I provide you on Edpuzzle. Yeah, Edpuzzle. It talks about codominance. It talks about incomplete dominance. It talks about Mendelian genetics when we talk about Punnett square, which is that's cross that we did. And then not only are we talking about that, is also going to show you a little bit about sex-linked traits, which we'll talk about more so later in the week, not next week, but after that, right? So we're going to come back. I will talk about it again. Then we'll move into our non-Mendelian traits, which is codominance, incomplete dominance, and then at the end of it, we're going to be talking about sex-linked pedigree chart, where basically diseases that you get from either mom or you get from dad. Okay. And with that said, you guys are good. Make sure you understand the 3 things that you're going to be doing. You're going to watch this video. After you're done with this video, then you're going to watch the Edpuzzle video that got questions in it. So that's going to make you do some of the questions. Then after you're done doing that question, then you can go ahead and do the quiz. Make sure you finish it. That is a time limit on there, right? There's a time limit. If you don't finish in time, you will not be able to go back and answer it. So if you don't get it, you don't get it. And then there's a worksheet you guys will be given. You can go ahead and print that out, or you can do it online and give it to me as well. But I don't care either way, as long as I get it so I can grade it for you guys. It would be on Schoology underneath the folder of absentee work, which I told you during class. And if you have a friend who has an issue with that, you can always send this video to them, and that gives them some help, give them the information just in case they didn't come to class, right? They need that information. All right, we good.